Now, we're turning our attentions to a new art exhibition opening in Kilkee this month, which is promising a vibrant celebration of colour, movement and the power of the Atlantic landscape. Into the Wind is the latest collection from artist Gina O'Connor, inspired by the energy and beauty of the West Coast. And Gina is on the line now. Good morning to you, Gina.
Good morning. How are you today?
Oh, very well.
Thank you for having me on.
What other way could we be on such a wonderful day, Gina? Isn't that right?
Oh, isn't it great to see the blue skies again?
It is. I'd nearly forgotten what colour they were. I thought they were just always permanently grey.
Yeah, exactly. Forever. I think they're called moody skies.
Moody,
yeah. Might call it. Well, we've probably had enough of the moody skies by now, I think. What do you think?
I think we had our fill by the end of January. But let's hope this is the start of a promising summer. And I don't know whether the skies feature much in your artwork, but tell us about Wind and Into the Wind. What can people expect from this exhibition?
Well, just a small correction there. It's actually Into the Wild, so it's inspired by the Wild Atlantic Way. It's a collection of semi-abstract oiled paintings. Inspired by the West, more about the energy of the West of Ireland, and especially the coastline of Kilkee and all along the Wild Atlantic Way. My paintings are all about colour, texture, and about capturing the feeling of a place rather than a typical view of a particular spot. So they're open to, I suppose, the response of the viewer and for them to see whatever they see within the painting. But certainly they gave me great joy to paint and great joy to share with the people of Kilkee and farther afield. It's about, like I said, it's about the capturing the energy of the landscape, the wind, the movement, the shifting light. And sure, we know all about that, don't we?
That we do.
Because we experience it on a daily basis. It's forever changing. And I spent a lot of time out and about, walking, swimming, cycling, as much time as I can really along the coast in particular. So I suppose when you're out there, you do absorb these things, don't you? And then when I go back to my work on the canvas, it just seems to come out really in bold mark making, textures, colours, energy, movement. It's all there. So I like to think it's quite it's a joyful experience, I suppose, for me, and I hope that it would bring joy to people who come and see the exhibition and possibly bring it to their homes as well.
And Gina, you mentioned colour, and you have described Into the Wild as showing a new confidence in your use of oil and colour. So how has your style evolved to that point how long have you been using oil and colour to reach a stage where you're confident in going that way?
Well, I suppose I would say that I've got bolder, freer, more experimental, with a stronger focus on the colour. So what might have been, maybe I exhibited there 3 years ago, so I think it's going to, people will say, yes, it is a little bit, maybe even a little bit more abstract, a bit bolder in the colour, a bit wilder. I've experimented a lot with how I apply the paint. It might have been maybe a little bit of a palette and a bit of a brush before. Now I'm kind of using, might use stick or a stone or sandpaper to scrape it off, lots of different types of palette knives, different ways of basically making marks, splashing the paint on, pouring it on. How else? I have even used a new technique, which is I've actually syringed the paint onto the canvas, So, a lot of texture and a lot more. I would just describe it freer and maybe even, bolder. We all like a bit of bold, maybe. So, yeah.
The pieces that you have, like Blown Away and Atlantic Bliss, they sound like they're full of movement. Can you tell us about one or two works that you're particularly proud of in the exhibition, or is that like choosing a favourite child?
Yeah. Oh, it most definitely is that. But here we go anyway. Now, I suppose, let me think. Dancing flowers. If you look at a field of flowers, right, they move and the colours change, and especially if you feel maybe of wildflowers. And so I have one particular painting, and it's the flowers are moving, but you know, what happens in movement. You know, you bend, you stretch, you reach, you twist, you turn. So I see the flowers as like a field of dancing flowers. It's as if they're dancing, because with all that colour inspires emotions as well. And often, you know, the bright colours, they're joyful. And what you do when you're feeling joyful, you dance. So I've got one there called Dancing Flowers. I've got another one, you'll see the flowers, they're being twisted and turned in the breeze, and I call that tossing and turning. So that's something, sometimes people, it's kind of a positive spin on tossing and turning, because we associate that with sleeplessness, don't we, you know? Whereas this is tossing and turning is fabulous, because there's the flowers and they're, you know, reacting and moving in the wind. I have another one called Birds Watching, as opposed to bird watching, because, you know, we think we're looking at the birds, but really they're looking at us. So there's birds, seagulls, and they're there, and they're eyeing us up, and they're flying overhead. And it's, of course, you know, anywhere along the coast we have beautiful birds. So yes, there's some of the titles. Blown Away again, that's very abstract. A lot of mark making in that one, and again, it's the flower is just being tossed and you know, blown away. And equally, we're blown away by the scenery, aren't we? Well, any time, any day, any season that you go out into the wild Atlantic way, it's really.
It's hard.
Stunning.
It's hard not to be.
You know,
the exhibition, Gina, opens on the 25th. It's running until the 29th of May. And it's going to be held at a venue, Cultural on Sweeney Gallery Library in Kilkee. A great spot for. What does it mean to return there for another solo show?
Oh, it means so much to me. I mean, I've been going to Kilkee since before I was born, if you like. But you know, Kilkee is just. It's a very precious place to me. To go back to that fabulous gallery is amazing. It's a beautiful place, and Clare Arts are fantastic for supporting the arts and supporting this particular exhibition. And I'm delighted then to have Mike Fitzpatrick, who's the former Dean of Limerick School of Art and Design, and he's coming to open the exhibition. Mike is a great supporter, leader in the arts, in not just in Limerick and Clare, but I think nationally as well. So delighted to have him, and he's a proud Clare man and a fanatic hurling fan. So and loves Kilkee as well. But yeah, to be returning to Kilkee, you know, I'm there all the time. But to be coming back to it's a real sort of you know, coming back to maybe where it all started, actually, to be honest. Yeah. So.
Well, we hope you.
Yes, 12 o'clock, the official opening next Saturday, and goes until May 29th. Yeah.
Okay. So, well, we wish you well with it. I'm sure there's plenty of opportunity for people to head along and check it out. Anyway, the exhibition called Into the Wild at Cultural on Sweeney Gallery and Library, and the artist Gina O'Connor. The very best of luck with it, Gina, and thanks for having a chat with us this morning on the show.
Gareth Mila Margaret.